So let me ask you something. If everything else was equal, but instead of eating animals right now, you were eating humans, would you go vegan overnight, or would you like continue consuming humans because it is time consuming and inconvenient to be vegan?
Maybe I would eat 1 or 3 babies eventually.
You would eat the human babies? Hello, how are you doing today?
Great. What about yourself?
Happy to hear. I'm doing good. So where are you from?
I'm from France.
From France. Oh, cool. So let me ask you something. Do you think animals deserve moral consideration, or you think they don't matter?
Now, obviously, they deserve more consideration. The problem is we've been so anthropocentric about our approach to nature and a lot of things. So, like considering animals as, I wouldn't say even second-class citizen, but not even valuable just as a product, has been so detrimental to the earth and the planet and all the ecosystem. And I think the moment we start thinking more about like the place of animals and what role they have in the daily life, it's going to be a major change.
I love that. I love the way you think about animals. Do you personally eat animals?
I was a vegetarian for 7 years, and since I came to Puerto Rico, actually, so a year ago, I started to eating meat again. But I don't eat low-value meat. I only go to like to butcher and where the produce is a bit trace. So I don't eat like, for example, in McDonald's, I don't eat meat or whatever. But I'm not a vegetarian anymore. But I was for a long.
So do you think that the way that you're currently consuming animal products, do you think is still morally problematic, or you think it's humane, etc.?
I think it's still problematic in the sense because I'm not like involved 100% in the traceability of the animal and where they come from, how they were raised. So obviously it's still problematic, but I think meat consumption can be more ethical. It's just a mean of production because like where I was raised, at least in France, it was surrounded by a lot of pastures and you have a lot of cows around, and you see these people like they actually do love their animal, like despite the production aspect, like they care for them and they're not being paid because they want to care for their animal first. So I think it can be a more ethical consumption of animal, but label it as 100% ethic, I don't think so.
So let me ask you something to like test your logic a little bit on that. If you were to like replace the animals that are in the kind of situation that you're picturing that would be considered like humane according to your values, if we were to like replace animals for humans, would you think it would be like ethical to like farm humans in those sort of situations, like small farms, and kill them humanely for sandwiches and stuff like that, or you think it would be like horrific to do that to humans?
Obviously it's horrific because this is like the conscience of species, like we're always going to choose our species first. So obviously it would be terrible.
What do you think is like true of animals that if it was true of humans would justify doing that sort of thing to humans?
Can you repeat the question?
What's true of animals that if it was true of humans would justify doing that sort of thing that you're saying would be ethical to do to animals but to humans?
Okay, but what do you mean by true?
Yeah, so let me ask the question a little bit different. What do you think is the morally significant difference between us and animals that like justifies to farm and kill animals but not humans?
It's speciesism. It's a discrimination against the animals.
So it sounds like as negative. Like speciesism sounds like something negative, right?
Yeah, but then again, it's like I don't know if it's philosophical or just for the human. Like we're always gonna think about species first.
But you think that's justified just because they're different species? It is okay to do that to them, or you think it's still wrong to do that to them?
Like morally, yeah, it's still wrong.
Still wrong. We agree on that. And let's say like, even if it was the case that the species distinction justified, I want to test your logic on that. Let's say we found like a group of people that looked like exactly like us and had psychology similar to us, but they happened not to be from our species. They weren't Homo sapiens. Do you think it would be like ethical to farm them and turn them into sandwiches just because they're not from our species, or would it be wrong?
But it's like people eating monkeys, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
because monkeys are not from our species, but you personally think it's wrong to eat monkeys, right?
But then again, it depends. It's the only way of survival. Like killing a monkey a month is just like as autochthon people. I don't like indigenous. Yes, yeah. People from the islands, for example, in Sumatra or else, like they used to eat monkeys.
Do you think that would be justified just because they're in a survival situation?
In a survival situation, yes.
What about if the only thing they had to eat was other humans? You would think it would be fine to stab like innocent humans if they were
But
not.
that has been done. There was an airplane crash in Argentina, and other people ate other people.
But the people were already dead. They didn't kill the other people.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, then again, the preference of your own species first.
Yeah, so that's like a separate question, like if whether it's like justified or not in a survival situation. But assuming we're not in a survival situation like we right now, do you think it is justified to consume animal products when we have other alternatives, or you think it's like wrong?
No, I think we have such an overconsumption that it's terrible.
Do you think it is morally obligatory to be vegan? In the sense that it would be wrong to not be vegan?
I don't think it's like it's a positive thing, but expecting the majority could be vegan, but like imposing something like this, like then again I'm thinking about like indigenous people living in an Arctic pole that are eating seal. They don't have any like fruits or vegetables. Like I don't know, to push it on everyone. I don't think that would be the solution.
Okay. So you're saying that in some edge cases where like they're in survival situations, it could be justified. I disagree. I think it is like unethical to kill innocent beings, even if we're in survival situations. But let's say we disagree on the edge cases. In cases like we are, like when we're like in first world countries where we have those alternatives, do you think it is morally obligatory to be vegan when we do have those alternatives?
I don't believe in forcing things onto people like this. I think there's definitely a need for more education about like life and how to eat. But I don't believe in forcing anyone into dietary plan.
What do you mean by forcing? Because like the way I see it, the only people that are forcing something onto somebody else is like we forcing like knives into the animals' throats and killing animals, or forcing them into gas chambers. Like what we do to them seems like more forceful than like I don't know, advocating for animal rights or something like that, right?
That was a very long question and you lost me.
Yeah, so I just want to understand like, if you think there's something like morally significantly different between us and animals that like justifies consuming animals but not humans.
That's like I never thought about this way, so I think to have a relevant opinion I will need to think more about it. Because right now I'm a bit high, so it's not really the good point.
Well, like, as of now, you don't really see like any morally significant difference between us and animals that would justify doing that to them, but not to us.
Not something like ground, but obviously, as I said it before, like it's our species. We're always going to choose our species. It's just the part that they're not from our species.
But in the hypothetical that we found beings that look like us but were not from our species, you would then say that it would be fine to do that to them?
I don't know.
So you're like agnostic as to whether or not it would be wrong to stab people that look like us but were not human beings?
But it's like an episode of Rick and Morty when they have a belly full of spaghetti, like they're humans, kind of. Huh.
Yeah, but that was wrong, right?
But they had a point at some point. Like, that was a very philosophical episode, actually.
So what would you think of that situation? Like if hypothetically we were like farming a bunch of people that turned out not to be, we tested their DNA, they were not humans, and we were turning them into spaghetti like in Rick and Morty, do you think that would be a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know.
Okay. Like sort of agnostic. So let me ask you like one more question. Like how many more animals do you want people to torture and kill in your name?
It was fine for 7 years. Yeah. I don't know.
What about zero?
Sorry?
What about zero? Zero animals being tortured and killed in your name. Zero. Like no animals.
J'ai pas compris.
Yeah, because I asked you how many more animals you want people to torture and kill in your name.
Yeah.
So like to put a number on it, and I'm asking, do you think zero is the best thing, the ideal situation?
Of course. But there's the ideal and then the practicality.
Practicality of being vegan?
Yeah, of being vegan, of like changing your diet, like
Do you think it's not practical to live as vegan?
No, I tried and it's whatever people say. It's expensive. It's time consuming, and you have to be careful with your health.
What do you mean expensive?
Like to buy products, to have like a diversified diet, something not boring every day, and to really like target what are your vitamins and stuff.
Okay. But they are like unexpensive plant-based products, stuff like rice, beans, lentils, potatoes, pasta, tofu.
I eat them every day, and at some point I get bored.
You get bored?
Yeah.
But do you think getting bored is enough of a justification to abuse others?
No, true.
Yeah. Like what do you think is more important, like our taste pleasure or their lives?
No, obviously their lives, but same again, there's the ideal and the practicality.
But you also mentioned health. Do you think it's like ethically, it is inferior in health to be plant-based?
But if you do it right, I think it's equal. But you have to do it right.
Yeah. And so you would admit that it is potentially healthy to be vegan, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think would be the obstacle for you? Why are you personally not vegan?
Because it's time consuming, it's expensive, and I just don't have the time for that.
So let me ask you something. If everything else was equal, but instead of eating animals right now, you were eating humans, would you go vegan overnight, or would you like continue consuming humans because it is time consuming and inconvenient to be vegan?
Maybe I would eat 1 or 3 babies, eventually.
You would eat the human babies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with that we would like reach like fundamental value differences. I think killing and eating babies is bad.
Depends if the baby is filled with spaghetti.
Okay. When history looks back on you, do you want to be seen as a oppressor or as a hero?
Dude, just by being here, I'm an oppressor.
But
So,
well, if you were between those two choices, if history looked back at you, found your name, would you want oppressor or hero next to your name?
but these like obvious questions, but it's like more like there's more in depth of that.
What's that?
Like, so obviously everyone would say I want to be remembered as a hero, but like,
And there's a way to be a hero to the animals,
okay.
and it would be to go vegan, to not pay for their oppression.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm a bit done with the interview.
yeah, no, that was the last question. Just here raising awareness and stuff like that. You know, there's a way to like live our lives without exploiting others, and that's through being vegan. I'm just here, make you reflect on it. Hopefully you think about the victims and you choose vegan next time.
Okay.
Take it easy. Have a good one.